Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something, well, pretty extraordinary. Our source material isn't your usual report. It's excerpts from something called the Kenema District Koya Dominion Thesis.
Right. And it's less a dry thesis and more like a blueprint for a whole different way of living. Governance, architecture, even language. It's dense.
Dense is one word for it. It feels almost like applied kinetic philosophy. Is that too much?
No, I think that captures it pretty well, actually. We're diving into the Text KDP consortium, and you picked up on that poetic feel. It's because the system calls itself a field breathing, a theory growing from under the palms.
Okay, so text TTP, break that down for us.
Sure. Text TTP is the double transjective quadratic model theory. Big mouthful, I know.
Yeah.
But the really crucial part, the bit that tells you what it's about, is the subtitle, as living flat metabolism.
Living flat metabolism. Okay.
Yeah.
That immediately signals something different. Like, forget org charts, forget hierarchy.
Exactly. It throws all that vertical stuff out. The whole system is designed for off-grid survival, running on its own regenerative power.
So it's not just theory, it's a calibration.
That's the word they use. The consortium, based in Kenema, Sierra Leone, isn't an NGO, not a think tank. It's an engine that calibrates modernity as metabolism living, repeatable, empirical, and it's covenantal, breath-linked. No bosses.
Right. So our mission today, then, is to unpack this incredibly complex framework, see how it swaps hierarchy for this flat covenantal thing where maintenance becomes worship and language is infrastructure. We need to cut through the jargon, find the real methods in this mansion lab place.
The architecture is the perfect place to start because the theory is literally in the ground. You know that first quote that jumps out, flat metabolism announces itself through every handprint on the sun-warmed 14-foot wall.
Every handprint.
Yeah. So the theory isn't just talked about, it's built. It's archived in the clay. It's lived out every day.
That physicality, we need to hang on to that as we go deeper here. Okay, let's start with the basics. The Text AT2 model, the engine. You said it calibrates modernity as metabolism. But how does this group, this consortium, actually work without any managers, any vertical lines? What are the operating principles?
Well, the absolute foundation is refusal, constitutional refusal. The model defines itself by what it won't do. The source material is really direct about it. No vertical, no manager, no outside expert. It has to come from within. Entirely.
Okay.
Right. And knowledge. Knowledge isn't about ownership or fancy credentials from outside. In this setup, knowledge is pure resonance. Theory is practiced kinship.
Resonance. So an idea is only good if it kind of vibrates with the whole community, their bodies, their place, their history.
Exactly. It has to ring true across their whole reality. And that reality is physical anchored in this place, the Kenema mansion. It's not just where they live. It is the thesis made physical.
Tell us more about this mansion lab, the size, the materials. It sounds like that's all part of the philosophy.
Oh, absolutely. It's the hub. About 3,400 square feet, totally off-grid, and it functions as everything at once. Lab, archive, home, cathedral. The living thesis itself. Those 14-foot walls.
Yeah.
Hand-mixed laterite and palm beam. They call them a living palimpsest.
Like an old manuscript, you write on, erase, write on again.
Precisely. So the walls absorb everything, sun, rain, the sweat of the builders. Every handprint becomes like a sacred mark, an archive entry.
And 14 feet high, that feels intentional. It speaks to shelter, but also the immense effort to build it like that.
It's designed to embody durability. The walls inscribe palm praxis architecture as covenant. Every brick is a promise. The architecture is the covenant.
Which leads us straight into this core idea of flatness. This isn't just about how they organize tasks, is it? It's political, philosophical.
Deeply. It's a deliberate constitutional refusal of those vertical ways of being. The sources point out, often post-colonial efforts just swap who's on top, but the structure stays the same. Extraction, command.
Flatness dismantles the whole grammar.
Exactly. It takes it apart.
Okay, I need to pause here because this is where it gets tricky, right? If there's no vertical structure, what is flatness? Just everyone gets an equal say. And that resonance thing, what if people disagree? Say about where to get water. You've got traditional knowledge, modern science. How do they decide?
That's the perfect question, and it shows why flatness isn't simplification. It's about dimensionality. Flatness says different kinds of knowledge exist on the same plane of truthfulness. Truth isn't just asserted, it's found through triangulation. So, your example is great. The grandmother's wisdom on purifying water passed down for generations, and the hydrologist's chemical tests.
A standard system would just default to the hydrologist, the expert.
Right. But here, the source says they are each incomplete without the other's witness. Truth needs both. The only way to a durable solution is finding where they meet, where they converge. The solution has to work on the ground. That's the validation. No imposing abstract knowledge from above.
Sounds demanding, but maybe more robust in the long run.
Definitely more robust. And the fuel for this whole demanding, non-hierarchical system, maintenance, the core thesis is maintenance joy not as concept, but as code.
Maintenance joy as code.
And this is their engine for hope. They call it prametatopia. We really need to get this term.
Yeah.
It's not about some perfect future way off somewhere. That's standard utopia. This is hope maintained right now, day by day, through fixing things, through upkeep. Embodied, iterative, handcrafted hope.
So fixing a leaky pipe isn't a chore, it's building the future, saving the world moment by moment.
Literally. The sources say repair is Eucharist, a sacrament. The act is a covenant inscribed in the grain of mahogany or in the clay walls.
Yeah.
Every repair reaffirms the community, the covenant. And the system works because the engine archives all this. Every repaired tool, every swept floor as lived experience in the clay.
It creates this constant loop. The building teaches the people. And putting off a repair isn't just lazy, it's almost like a spiritual failure.
Exactly. If maintenance is the code, decay is betrayal. The immediate, joyful, collective act of repair is the only real innovation they value. It's theory made real, repeatable, evidence-based.
Okay, so this living flat metabolism isn't just random. It flows, governed by this quadratic homeorhythm. 4 axes, ultra, extra, meta, intra, described as a flat-trizopoly-centric hub, governance by resonant distributed orchestration. Sounds complex.
Think of it like the mansion's circulatory system. Everything flows through these 4 dimensions, constantly cycling. And each axis has 2 directions. Reverted, which is the outward action, building the world, and inverted, the internal reflection, making meaning, keeps the whole thing breathing.
Got it. Let's take the first axis, ultra, faith and ignition. How is faith kinetic?
Yeah, it's treated as a practical tool here, not just believing something in your head. It's a kinetic tool and construction principle. Hands in act ascent is the phrase they use.
Hands in act ascent.
Your belief is measured by what you build, what you maintain.
So the outward part, the reverted flow, is the physical work itself. Raising walls, the sound of hammers, those palm psalms chants during work, all tied to sunrise construction, faith as construction.
Precisely. And the mansion's durability. That becomes a physical symbol of their faith, of prametatopia achieved. Now the flip side, the inverted flow, that's the spiritual reflection. The hymn sung at dusk in the courtyard, the feeling of sweat evaporating as prayer, connects the hand, the home, the horizon. Intimacy becomes faith as integration.
Sweat evaporating as prayer. I like that. Okay, axis 2. Extra, civic and kinship, measuring the collective pulse.
The community's vibe, you could say, felt through the guild circle. Their metrics are local sensory things like the shared fragrance of rainfall and silence. Civic life isn't rules, it's a kinship verb.
A kinship verb. How does that play out externally, the reverted flow?
That's the practical stuff. Guilds coordinating repairs, debating ideas in the evening, and crucially, it manifests as suscavalence.
The succavalence. Sounds like the opposite of Big Brother, the panopticon.
Exactly. Foucault's idea was unseen surveillance enforcing discipline from above. This flips it. It's a panopticon of benevolence. Everyone watches everyone. But the watching is careful. It's reciprocal. Designed to spot growth, celebrate it, support someone who's struggling. Not to punish.
So surveillance becomes mutual care, a support system.
Yeah, turning surveillance into social support. Building resilient social thermostats, they call it.
And the internal loop, the inverted flow for extra.
That connects to kinship memory, maintaining traditions rhythmically. Ancestral wisdom isn't just history, it's humming in the heart-to back of every resident. Shared care becomes civic tenderness, caring for the land, for each other. It defines who you are.
Okay, axis 3, meta. Reflection and coherence, the thinking part, keeping the theory sharp.
Right. And here, argument is the tool, not necessarily consensus right away. Theory is practice kinship. Reflection isn't about confessing sins. It's about finding coherence, tested empirically. Triangulation again.
Knowledge has to survive semantic respiration, meaning it has to work in practice.
Got it. It can't just live in documents. It has to be validated by what happens in the field.
So the outward gaze of meta, the reverted flow. The source mentions the maintenance log as feedback. Triangulation needs data.
Yes. And the data points for truth are family, kinship, stability across generations, ecology, how it affects the environment, stewardship, and spirit, the kinetic commitment, the covenant. Any action, any idea has to hold up across all 3. So the log might note, repairing this wall, action, shifted the children's mood, family, changed the water runoff ecology, and affected the feeling during the dusk him.
Wow. Everything is connected. And the internal loop, the inverted flow, this is where Play Soda comes in.
Yes, that's her reflective loop. Chanting Clayla Soda at dusk helps unlock praxamnesia memory that awakens while doing. Clayla Soda itself, philosophy plus play plus soda. The idea that thinking should fizz, refresh, delight. It shouldn't be grim or purely academic.
So critical thinking is joyful,
Yeah.
experimental.
Exactly. Wisdom emerges as communal resonance, not just one person's brilliant insight. The ultimate test for any idea. Does this survive the next rainfall? Will the guild inherit this song, this tool, this lore?
That deals with the what if it's wrong question. If it doesn't work in practice joyfully, repeatably, it gets dropped.
Right. Keeps the thinking fresh, effective, and durable.
Last axis, intra. Embodiment and interoception, closing the loop, bringing it all back to the body.
Crucial. Every theory must land in the somatic text. The feeling of kneading bread, the breeze on your skin. That's the final check. Field work is done by attuned body, muscle, and mind circulating somaplate, which means...
Thinking through skin.
Exactly. The body isn't just labor. It's the ultimate analysis tool.
So the reverted flow is the hands-on repair work in the morning, a praxis genome for the community's health. Breathing in rhythm with tool strokes.
And the inverted flow awakens the sensation praxiome.
Yeah.
Maintenance becomes therapy. Your heartbeat confirms the deep significance of embodied repair. Intimacy here is defined as each body listening to the mansion breathe.
Listening to the mansion breathe. So these four axes cycle everything, ideas, feelings, actions through faith, community, reflection, and the body itself, nonstop. This intense focus on the body, the land, it leads right into section 3, language as infrastructure. This idea that they're actively engineering language to reshape their reality. Post-colonial neoculturation.
It's fascinating, isn't it? They see colonial power baked right into grammar. So to get rid of verticality, you have to rework the language itself. Enter the hyperorganon.
The hyperorganon sounds technical.
It is, but think of it as a living cognitive ritual machine. A lexicon where new words, neologisms pulse with concept, feeling, and action all at once. It turns language inward, sparking theological and cognitive shifts through these often playful, multi-part invented words. Words aren't just labels, they're linguistogenetic engines. They make new realities possible.
Linguistogenetic engines. Okay, let's look at some of these engines, terms that are actually creating new ways of seeing for them.
Right. First up, kinemaction. That's local doing, radiates metaphysics. Meaning the specific reality of kinema, this soil, these trees, this history, that is the source of all profound theory. The ground doesn't just support theory, the ground theorizes itself. Like, noticing a specific erosion pattern doesn't just mean fix the wall. It sparks a new theological insight about lateral covenant, about how things connect horizontally.
Wow. Okay. Next, stamina org.
That describes the resilient communal organism. It's more than just resilience. It suggests the community's health org comes from its history and current ability to handle stress, stamina. And surviving hardship actually makes the org theoretically richer, more cohesive.
Then Play Soda philosophy, play, soda, we touched on this. Making theory fizz.
And the joy is vital. It's an analytical tool. If thinking is only grim, it risks becoming top-down, punitive. Play Soda keeps analytical rigor alive through joyful experimentation. Debates become chants. Theory becomes song.
And the fourth one, key for learning. Praxamnesia. Memory awakens while doing.
Yes. Knowledge isn't pulled from a book. It comes back to you as you do the work. Your hands remember weaving the mat as you start the movement. It's coded in muscle, in shared practice.
This whole language creation, linguistogenesis, this is where the ontological engineering happens. That story about the kid inventing waterkin.
Perfect example of language as infrastructure. A 7-year-old comes up with waterkin for the stream they restored. The old language just saw a resource, manage it, extract from it. Waterkin creates a whole new relationship category. It reorients responsibility.
It makes the stream family. Grammatically, socially. Suddenly, caring for it isn't just environmentalism, it's kinship ethics. You can't separate stewardship from family anymore. It removes that extractive mindset by definition.
And that flows straight into their education model. Radical unschooling within ancestral wisdom. Learning isn't job prep, it's prep for maintenance.
So the curriculum is repair as ritual. What does that look like day to day? Intergenerational learning.
Totally hands first, body-led. Kids and elders build the curriculum together through maintenance. Elders share ancient water harvesting techniques vital for survival. Youth share know-how on keeping the solar panels running vital for modernity. Apprenticeship blends deep memory and practical need. Knowledge starts in the skin, the bone. Ascent means hands-on making.
Sounds like a very conscious pushback against colonial education systems that valued abstract Western knowledge over local embodied wisdom.
Absolutely. By prioritizing handmade modernity, covenantal repair, they're literally rewiring neural pathways to sync with the landscape and kinship. Every lesson gets coded in body and heart. The curriculum isn't on paper. It's in the dust, the wood, confirmed by touch and breath.
Okay, so if architecture is the archive, language is the engine, then the philosophy driving governance is this flat geonaturalism and African geotheology. Does that mean politics flows directly from the local ecology?
In a way, yes. The land in this geotheology isn't just passive dirt. It speaks. Rainfall patterns become doctrine. The way shade falls can be read as covenantal scripture. So, deciding when to plant or how to angle a roof, it's less about pure science and more about listening to the land, fulfilling a theological duty based on seasonal rhythms. Divinity, understanding. It moves sideways, through kinship and ecology, not down from abstract systems.
So faith gets grounded in the red earth, that's soil think.
Soil-think is the idea that the earth itself holds knowledge you access through humility, through touch, through commitment. When the laterite soil resists erosion in a certain way, that's read as scripture about covenant. Kineos faith in motion, is this tactile covenant. Prometopia happens through practical stewardship. Governance spreads out laterally, negotiated in the guilds, working with ecological rhythms.
But the big question, how does this emergent horizontal governance hold up? What stops an outside force, a big NGO, the government, from just rolling in and imposing a vertical system?
The sources suggest the defense is built into the system itself. Reflective civic soteriology. Salvation as maintenance. The continuous looping nature of their governance is the shield.
Salvation as maintenance, that completely reframes the social contract.
It really does. Salvation isn't about escaping the world individually. It's about collectively transforming this world, which demands constant eschatological maintenance. Not prepping for some far-off end times, but knowing every moment is world-birthing, world-ending potentially. It demands nonstop recommitment to those tangible, covenantal values.
So the community saves itself every day through reflection and repair. And that's where the suscavilance, the panopticon of benevolence, comes into governance.
Yes, the sources say it's central to their civic salvation. It flips Foucault's nightmare on its head. Because everyone is watching everyone, the watching isn't punishment, it's support. It's a distributed early warning system for social problems. If someone's falling behind on maintenance, the guild circle doesn't punish, it helps. Builds those resilient social thermostats, rigor balanced with humor and care.
And the ultimate measure of success for all this is acceleration. Joyful, Afro-optimist-oriented accelerationism, JAOA. That's different from the usual tech bro accelerationism.
Totally different. Western accelerationism often fixates on tech speed, maybe even collapse. JOA says acceleration isn't mechanical speed, it's communally informed joy. Velocity is benevolence. Joy is the social energy that stops things from falling apart.
So they're speeding up towards stability.
It's metabolic reality.
Yeah.
By cutting out the friction, waiting for outside experts, top-down decisions, abstract funding the community actually moves faster towards thriving. The speed is defined by care, by benevolence.
Can you give us a concrete example? How does the speed look in Kenema?
Well, they cite things like early morning guild teams repairing water channels. The speed of the work is synced with sunrise prayers. It creates this kinetic joy, making hard labor feel urgent but almost effortless. Or kids racing each other to finish repair tasks, that's kinetic joy, as pedagogy. JOA uses that joy to power the repair work, keeping hope alive and accelerating competence through shared stories and actions.
Okay, so bringing it all together, the four axes, the language creation, the kinetic salvation, the text U22 really does dissolve those academic silos, doesn't it? Anthropology, architecture, linguistics, theology, they all merge.
Absolutely. The mansion ends up being a sermon, a lab, a dictionary, an archive, all at once. And instead of looking outside for validation, it relies on internal resonance, tested constantly through that triangulation. Family, ecology, spirit. It's completely self-referential, self-validating.
Which leads to this Eucharistic economy, or gracenomics, a total flip on how we usually think about value.
Right. In gracenomics, value comes from upkeep, not extraction. Labor is liturgy. Commerce is compassion. Durability, repair, equity. Those are the metrics. And the source is explicit. A repaired bucket is worth more than a brand new imported one.
Because the repaired one holds the community's pledge, the lived experience, the muscle memory, the theological promise to stick together. The new one just holds debt, planned obsolescence.
Exactly. Repair creates measurable value. The sources call the whole thing the Kenema miracle. Because the prometopia, the hope, isn't just talk anymore. It's real. tangible.
What does that miracle look like on the ground?
You see the evidence. Solar panels humming psalms, kids finding geometry in pavement cracks spontaneous, embodied learning rainwater baptizing the cement. The next generation is being raised as practitioners of holy durability. It's empowerment. You can measure the community solving its own problems, adapting with sophisticated homegrown knowledge.
And if this framework, this text E2 model, spread beyond Kedema, the sources imagine something called the Panempathicon.
The Panempathicon, yeah, another neologism from their hyperorganon. It's this vision of a global empathy infrastructure, where big institutions, universities, companies, maybe even governments reshape themselves as flat metabolic systems. Their technologies would mimic Kenema's humility. Dust-aware, family-calibrated, maintenance-driven.
So, not exporting the specific building materials, but the method, the covenantal approach.
Exactly. The core idea is that the acceleration we need isn't speed, it's depth, the acceleration of care. It's just the miracle isn't some outside intervention, but just human collaboration, given the freedom to think and speak differently. It shows maybe the way forward isn't always up, but back to the ground, where humility becomes science and kinship shapes architecture.
A complete reordering, where fixing something broken becomes the most important political act.
And that fixing always involves humility. Kneeling to the earth to repair the walls, the lungs of the mansion. Hashtag tag outro.
That image, humility as infrastructure, it brings us right back to the start, doesn't it? Kneeling to the dust, the text cycle completes itself there, recognizing every speck holds the archive of a million breaths.
And the commitment, the covenant, is sealed by that physical posture. That line from the thesis really resonates. We kneel to dust where walls are lungs. That's somoplate knowing through posture, theology through breath. Flatness isn't easy. It's courage and constant tender repair.
So, if the path forward isn't just upward ascent, but this fall forward into faith's kinesthetic grammar, it leaves us with a question, doesn't it? For you, listening, what's the maintenance task you're putting off right now? The one that might actually be your next big theoretical breakthrough? What repair, big or small, is waiting that might be a crucial covenantal act for you, for your community? What needs tending today to build your Prometopia tomorrow?
We're thinking about the acceleration of care. It starts right where you are, in your own small architecture.
That's our deep dive for today. We'll see you next time.